Hey guys, welcome to Medifaction. Today, let's learn about shock. The shock is a life-threatening clinical syndrome of cardiovascular collapse characterized by an acute reduction of effective circulating blood volume, that is hypotension, and an inadequate perfusion of cells and tissues. Perfusion is the passage of fluid through the circulatory system or lymphatic system to an organ or a tissue, usually referring to the delivery of blood to a capillary bed in tissue. So, when a cardiogenic shock occurs, there is chance of blood pressure reduction, which results in decreased cardiac output, which results in decreased stroke volume and heart rate. Therefore, decreased blood flow can be observed, and decreased perfusion, which results in decreased heat production, which finally results in cold shock. Classification and etiology. First one is hypovolemic shock. This form of shock results from inadequate circulatory blood volume by various etiological factors that may be either from the loss of red cell mass and plasma due to hemorrhage or from the loss of plasma volume alone. The next type is cardiogenic shock. Acute circulatory failure with sudden fall in cardiac output from acute diseases of heart without actual reduction of blood volume results in cardiogenic shock. The third type is septic shock. Severe bacterial infections or septicemia induce septic shock. It may be the result of gram-negative septicemia, which is endotoxic shock, which is more common also, or less often from gram-positive septicemia, which is exotoxic shock. So, when there is decreased effective circulating blood volume, which results in decreased venous return to heart. This may be due to hypovolemic shock, hemorrhage, trauma, surgery, burns, dehydration, or even septic shock. These results in decreased cardiac output and decreased blood flow, which results in decreased supply of oxygen, anoxia, and finally ending up in shock. Otherwise, directly there may be decreased cardiac output due to cardiogenic shock, deficiency in filling, deficiency in emptying, and even outflow obstruction. Whatever may be the reason, it will end up in shock. Now let's see the pathogenesis of hypovolemic shock. Hypovolemic shock occurs from inadequate circulating blood volume due to various causes, most often from loss of red cell mass due to hemorrhage and therefore also called as hemorrhagic shock. The major effects in this are due to decreased cardiac output and low intracardiac pressure. Major clinical features are increased heart rate, that is tachycardia, low blood pressure, that is hypotension, low urinary output, also known as oliguria or anuria, and alteration in mental state, that is agitated to confused to lethargic condition. Next is pathogenesis of cardiogenic shock. The cardiogenic shock results from a severe left ventricular dysfunction from various causes such as myocardial infarction acutely. The resultant decreased cardiac output has its effect in the form of decreased tissue perfusion and movement of fluid from pulmonary vascular bed into pulmonary interstitial space initially and later into alveolar space. So this is what a myocardial infarction looks like. The artery becomes blocked, which results in occluded artery. And here you can observe the damaged heart muscle due to inadequate perfusion. Pathogenesis of septic shock. Septic shock results most often from gram-negative bacteria entering the body from genitourinary tract, alimentary tract, respiratory tract or skin, and less often from gram-positive bacteria. In septic shock, there is immune system activation and severe systemic inflammatory response to infection as follows. Number 1. Activation of macrophage monocytes. The lysis of gram-negative bacteria releases endotoxin, a lipopolysaccharide, into circulation where it binds to lipopolysaccharide binding proteins. The complex of lipopolysaccharide and lipopolysaccharide binding proteins binds to CD14 molecule on the surface of the monocyte or macrophages, which are stimulated to elaborate pro-inflammatory cytokines, the most important one being tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin 1. Next is activation of other inflammatory responses. The microbial infection activates other inflammatory cascades which have profound effects in triggering septic shock. So this is a schematic representation of septic shock. Finally, it will be resulting in multi-organ function. It may be either due to systemic effects, which may be due to diminished myocardial contractility or metabolic abnormality, or it may be even due to vasodilation, increased permeability, and decreased perfusion due to interleukin 6, interleukin 8, nitrogen oxide, PAF, reactive oxygen species, etc. Other reasons for multi-organ failures are tissue ischemia due to microvascular thrombosis, that is DIC. So this is the endotoxin that I have been told in the previous slide, which all results in the endothelial activation, which corresponds to the multi-organ failure. Now let's see the pathophysiology or stages of shock. Although deterioration of circulation in the shock is a progressive and continuous phenomenon and compensatory mechanisms become progressively less effective, historically, shock has been divided arbitrarily into 3 stages. First one is compensated shock. Second stage is progressive decompensated shock. Third is irreversible decompensated shock. Compensated shock. In the early stage of shock, an attempt is made to maintain adequate cerebral and coronary blood supply by redistribution of blood so that the vital organs are adequately perfused and oxygenated. This is achieved by activation of various neurohormonal mechanisms causing widespread vasoconstriction and by fluid conservation by the kidney. If the condition that caused the shock is adequately treated, the compensatory mechanism may be able to bring out about recovery and re-establish the normal circulation. That is called compensated or reversible shock. Next is progressive decompensated shock. This is a stage when the patient suffers from some other stress or risk factors, for example, pre-existing cardiovascular and lung disease besides persistence of the shock condition. This causes progressive deterioration. The third one is irreversible decompensated shock. When the shock is so severe that in spite of compensatory mechanisms and despite therapy and control of etiologic agent which caused the shock, no recovery takes place. It is called decompensated or irreversible shock. Clinical features and complications. The classical features of decompensated shock are characterized by depression of 4 vital processes, which are very low blood pressure, subnormal temperature, feeble and irregular pulse, shallow and sighing respiration. In addition, the patients in shock have pale face, sunken eyes, weakness, cold, and clammy skin. Life-threatening complications in shock are due to hypoxic cell injury resulting in immunoinflammatory responses and activation of various cascades such as clotting, complement, kinin. These include the following. Number 1. Acute Respiratory Distress Syndrome ARDC. Number 2. Disseminated Intravascular Coagulation DIC. Number 3. Acute Renal Failure ARF and Multiple Organ Dysfunction Syndrome MODS. With progression of the condition, the patient may develop stupor, coma, and death. Hope you have understood the video. Like, subscribe, and press the bell button for more videos. Thank you. Thanks for watching.